Bernstein Show. Now, here's Ed.
Well, the economy hasn't been good. And we look around the streets, there's big homelessness problem. But it's not just the homelessness. It's people who have homes that often need help. Fortunately, in Las Vegas, we have a new organization, a relatively new organization, the Just One Project, started by Brooke Neubauer. And I know I'm not describing this right. What is your mission?
So our mission is to connect the community through volunteerism while creating access to groceries and wraparound services.
And who is eligible? When you say it's the community, everybody?
Everybody in the community. If you self-identify that you need assistance with either groceries or wraparound services, we want to help you.
And what exactly is a wraparound service?
Wraparound services is where you can meet with a case manager or a resource navigator, if you will, that literally sits down with you and talks to you about any barriers that you are facing that could be preventing you from having self-sustainability in any aspect. Sometimes it is a simple thing like a birth certificate, preventing somebody from getting a driver's license to be able to drive to go get a job. And sometimes people need help with utilities and they need utilities assistance. Sometimes it's major and they are displaced from their home and they need housing. So there's a various different degrees of wraparound services. And we do light touch and we do intensive case management as well.
So a lot of them is just oftentimes just dealing with the bureaucracy of how do we get somebody documentation, how do we get them IDs, how do we... what if people don't have money for a deposit for the power company?
Right.
Got into some hard times.
Absolutely. The biggest thing for me, I always feel like, okay, going to the DMV, how much of a pain in the butt is the DMV? And I'm sure you have probably somebody that helps you get your affairs in order.
I was there waiting a couple hours,
right?
A few weeks ago.
And you had to have this and that and this and that. Well, what if you can't find one of your items and then you just can't move forward in the process? So oftentimes our clients, they just don't have the resources to even get those little items. But it could be that in any, various different departments of what their needs are.
So, but getting back to the food part of it.
Sure.
When I was walking through your facility,
Yeah.
you have, I should say, you're at 1401 North Decatur.
Mm-hmm. Where the old Wonder World used to be, by the way, for old Vegas natives.
Yes.
Because this is kind of a historical spot.
It is an historical spot. Herb Kaufman's Wonder World years ago.
Yes.
But I noticed you have, it's like almost like a party atmosphere in the back parking lot.
Yeah.
You have tents set up. You have volunteers all over the place, handing out, cars pulling up, and people just handing out. I mean, to me, it looks like the food's coming from Whole Foods. It's great fruit, great quality. It's all kinds of healthy food, and without any questions being asked. So how does that work?
Well, number one, we don't serve food that we wouldn't eat ourselves or that we wouldn't purchase ourselves. And number two, our clients call in and they speak to our client intake team. So when they get to us, they have appointments. And we do that because we want to know that they're coming and we want to make sure that we're prepared to serve as many people as we're able to serve that day. And we want it to be an expedited process. And so the questions are asked pre. And then when they get there, it's all about welcoming them and making sure they have a great experience. And the client intake team that talks to them before their appointment, that's where we're able to catch people before they fall through the cracks.
Give me a typical example of a family.
Okay.
Family of four, okay? Had a job last week, got terminated, lost my job, my unemployment hasn't started yet. We need some help.
Yes.
What can you do for us?
Yeah. I think it's important, too, to know that so many families, a very high percentage of families are literally living check to check. So one check could completely displace their entire family. So how fantastic is it that they can learn about us through various degrees, whether it's through CCSD, through a school teacher, a school counselor, whether it be from their neighbor, whether they follow us on social media. if somebody knows who we are and they call us and express that they need grocery support, we're able to get them services immediately. And if we get a call, say a mom calls our client intake and says, I have 4 children at home, I have no groceries in my pantry, we will make sure that they get a delivery immediately. And that's called an emergency delivery. How amazing is that? That if you call us, you get served immediately.
And how do you decide what food to present?
Mm-hmm. Well, we have this amazing woman on our team, Kate, and she is a nutrition extraordinaire. So she actually orders all of our food. So she decides what's in season, what's the healthiest, what goes with what. And we even give clients recipes because I feel like that's super important. Because a lot of people don't know, if you don't know how to cook, you don't know what to prepare, what to put together. So with our services, how can we add those extra little touches that can be helpful in the home while they're preparing their meals?
And what's the difference between your organization and organizations like 3 Square?
Perfect question, and we get that question a lot. So 3 Square is the food bank, and a food bank acts as one bank for all of the food. So food goes to the food bank and then gets distributed to all of their agency partners. We are an agency partner of 3 Square. We're a little unique because we are one of the few agency partners that are not faith-based. So the faith-based partners, they are doing outreach as a part of their do-gooding, right? So outreach is secondary. But for the Just One project, outreach is our first mission. So it's wonderful for a food bank to have an organization like us because our focus is getting the food to the end user. So it's really a unique, wonderful partnership.
Included in food, because I noticed there's toilet paper and paper towels and
that we ask community partners. So Brady Industries is incredibly generous to us. Paper towels, toilet paper, and tissue. Those are luxury items that if you have $10 for your grocery list, you're probably going to skip the paper towels. In my home, paper towels, if paper towels are out, it's like the end of the world. Oh my gosh, we don't have paper towels. What are we going to do? It's ridiculous, right? But those are little luxuries that our clients are just so grateful for. So it's amazing that we can use that generosity and connect it to the community.
And even helping somebody apply for a job.
Absolutely.
They need a sports jacket, if they need a resume. Right? You do some of that work as well.
Well, what we do is we have a village because it takes a village. So we have a village of community partners that we consider trusted partners that serve in the same gold standard way that we serve. So if we identify somebody like that who needs those types of services, we will introduce them to our friends at Dress for Success. And then Dress for Success does what they do. And then they come back to us with whatever needs that we're finishing them with. So,
Brooke, how did you get involved in this?
I did my first charitable thing in my 30s, which is a little late in life. I say that I was bitten by the bug because literally it was like a bug. And it felt so good that I was like, I need to do this more and more and more. And number 2, how many people do I know right now that would want to do this too if they were just invited? And it turned out that I knew an army of people that wanted to do good. You just simply had to ask them. And so I thought if I could create super friendly, engaging, rewarding, easy ways for them to get involved and give back, who would say no, right? If you're fortunate and somebody asks you to pay it forward or to do something wonderful for a neighbor in need, everyone was saying yes. And so it just became this grassroots movement of wanting to do good.
Did you have a job at the time?
No, yes, I was a stay-at-home mother, and that is the biggest job on the planet. And I called myself the house manager and the life manager, right? You're managing.
Broker training for what you do now, right?
Yes. Now the funny thing is I still have that job and I have this job. So, but yeah, it was a big part of my life that I never knew was missing, and it changed the trajectory of my life, and it allowed me an outlet to do all of the things that I loved to do, be creative, be engaging, connect people to good. So it was literally my calling that I never knew I had.
When did you identify this niche that you serve? I mean, Three Square was there, other organizations were there.
Yeah.
You saw a gap somewhere?
Yep. It was in 2016. Del Monte reached out to us because they saw a video that went viral on Facebook at the time where we were distributing toys into the community. We would go to weeklies and distribute whatever we were collecting with our volunteers at the time. And they said, hey, we just saw this amazing video that was viral on Facebook. We have 25,000 pounds of fresh fruit. Would you like it for your pop-up and give that didn't even exist yet? And we were like, yes, the pop-up and give totally could use that. And so we went back to the neighborhood that we had just given these toys to, and so many of the parents were emotional and crying. And I didn't understand at the time. Our volunteers were very touched, and there were a lot of tears, but I knew that it was because it was special, because we had just gone back to that community, and there was just a special bond. So when I asked the parents, why they were emotional, the mothers were specifically sharing that they were not able to provide those types of food and fruits to their kids. And one of the parents said, my child has never even tasted a pineapple. They're calling this pineapple SpongeBob's house, right? And I thought, oh my gosh. So I said, where do you shop? Where are you getting your food? It literally made me do a bunch of research on where these people were shopping, what access did they have to fresh nutrition, how much the groceries were, if they could even get to the grocery store. And it just took a life of its own. And it was the universe putting us exactly where we needed to be at the right time. And for years, we did just food. And during COVID, we were serving, on average, 58,000 people every single month. And what I realized at that time was we're serving 58,000 people every month, but what are we doing for them to help them get off of the free food system? And of course, not everybody needs that long-term support, but it just made me and my team realize that we were meant for different things, and we needed to expand our services and help an abundance of people get to the next space in life that they were supposed to get to.
Therefore, the wraparound services.
Yes, because how unrewarding would it be? Well, for us anyway, I didn't want to spend the next 10 years of my career just putting a Band-Aid on the problem. I thought if we could be innovative and we could be efficient and provide wraparound services with that same efficiency and the same innovation as we applied to our food programs, I thought that we could really make change in the social services system. And so that's what we're doing now.
You have a large warehouse facility here.
Yeah, we have 23,000 square feet.
You also have other locations that you service. And how does that work?
So we have no-cost community markets, which are free grocery stores that have wraparound services and a case manager at each site. We have a location at Commercial Center. We have a location at Garside Middle School. Right here at headquarters, we're opening up our flagship, which is going to be our largest. And then we just received funding for 3 more school community markets.
When you say funding, are you getting funding from the state?
So this particular incredibly generous funding is coming from United Healthcare.
Okay.
How fantastic, right?
Great.
So shout out to United Healthcare. We love them.
Yeah. They're out there in a lot of ways in the community.
Yes.
But when we talk about funding, I mean, you have a combination of private funding and some public funding.
Yes. A lot of we've been complimented about a year ago. Somebody complimented after looking at our annual report and looking at our community partner list. They said, your team is very unique by way of you guys have such a unique partnership with private and public funds. And they said that it was rare for a nonprofit to be so diversified with public and private. But to me, I feel like, very similar to Three Square, where Three Square's boots on the ground, we're their last mile in their distribution. But we're also like that for the county and the city and the state, because we, with their funding, can literally be their boots on the ground. We can do the services that they need done that they can't do themselves. So it's really unique partnerships.
And when you say boots on the ground, I mean, it's obviously getting the message out to people who need it.
Yes.
Services is fundamental.
Yes.
So how do you do that?
So when we first in 2018, we received a private gift to open up our first set of doors. And we served our first client in 2019, and it was late February. And we served our first client, and our team was like, oh my gosh, that was magical. That was amazing. And we were like, where's everybody else? And so we literally printed flyers, and we went to doctors' offices that primarily treated patients with Medicaid and Medicare, because we figured that was our demographic of people that needed support. So we started there, and then we went to CCSD, and we said, hey, please share with all of your counselors. This is who we are. This is what we do. Then we went to family services. So we just kept expanding who we shared. And then social media, we thought social media, we have to have a big presence on social media for 3 reasons. Number one, we want to connect our clients to who we are, what we're doing, and we want to build that brand and trust. Number 2, we want to engage volunteers. We want them to fall in love with us and keep coming back to help us. And number 3, we wanted to show donors what we were doing so that anytime they could go onto our social media and say, holy cow, they're really doing it.
Where our dollars are going.
Yeah, and they can see it in live real time, because I feel like it's really important for people to know that it's not just ceremonious. We're not just showing, you can actually come in here Monday through Friday and see clients coming through the doors, and you see them leaving with groceries, and you see them coming in feeling defeated and feeling overwhelmed, and you see them leaving with hope and a plan and faith.
Do you have any idea of your, I guess this is the right term, success rate? Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is, do you have the same people coming back every day or every week for food, or do you see that people are really getting off of this treadmill?
Sure. Well, I think that you have different buckets of clients. You have a bucket of clients, for instance, our home delivery clients. They have mobility issues, and most of them are seniors. So we don't expect them to not need our services. So we expect those clients to be with us indefinitely. And then we have a bucket of clients that don't want to. They want to shop where we shop. They want to have access to other things. And those clients, those are our community market clients. They're coming in and they're signing up for wraparound services because they want to elevate and they want to not be clients.
Not happy with where they are.
Yes. And then our youth program was designed to break the cycles of generational poverty. Those kids in there do not want to be clients. And so they're leaving here self-sustainable, and they're not going to be clients. So you have different buckets in supportive services.
I wanted to talk to you about your volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of them.
We do.
And they all look like they're having a great time. They look like very fulfilled, rewarded in doing the volunteer work that they're doing, and at least back here in the in your delivery system.
Yeah.
And music is playing.
Mm-hmm.
They're high-fiving each other. How do you develop that culture with volunteers?
So I always say that the Just One Project is more than an organization. It's literally a brand. We have built a brand And it started with the clients. We wanted to build a brand that the community would trust and that the community would come to see for services. Then the second biggest part of our organization is our volunteers. So we knew that we wanted that same branding and that same experience to go to the volunteers. And then community partners. We try to make every community partner feel incredibly special, appreciated, highlighted, engaged, and that's what we focus on. So I feel like the brand is the experience, and it just bleeds down to everybody that we serve, because we have 3 sets of customers: our clients, our volunteers, and our donors.
And you mentioned social media.
Mm-hmm.
You're on Facebook, Instagram,
all
Twitter.
The things, LinkedIn.
So, and you search
TikTok too.
Yeah. And you just search Just One.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Just One Project. You can Google us, find our website, look at us on any social media outlet. I think that I love to look at our Instagram page because it's refreshing. It's like, it just makes you smile and it makes you feel good. And that's one of my favorites to look at.
Right. So people can find you on social media if they want to volunteer.
Yeah.
By the way, if you want to volunteer and you just have 4 hours a week that somebody can offer,
for sure,
you'll take it.
That's fantastic. I was going to say, yes, I thought you were going to say like an hour a day.
Yeah.
Because even for an hour a day, you can make 2 home deliveries to 2 seniors that are homebound. How powerful is that? And oftentimes we are the only visitor that goes to see those clients. So in just 1 hour, you could literally touch 2 lives in such a beautiful, impactful way.
How sweet. The transportation vehicles you use, I mean, if I wanted to volunteer and deliver, do I need a vehicle, or do you have vehicles?
Well, if you have a vehicle, fantastic. We would love to put it to use in our volunteering delivery program. But if somebody doesn't have a vehicle and they want to come and volunteer in the warehouse, we have a spot for you too. So it's all.
And obviously, you want people to donate money. But if you can't donate money and you can't donate time, are there other materials that you do need?
Well, I think that there are multiple ways that you can support a nonprofit if you don't have time or treasure. You can share our social media on your platform. That is such a unique way to help any nonprofit organization. So I love when I see people sharing nonprofits' messages on social media, because you're literally giving advertising. You're giving a whole sphere. So it's equally as powerful. It's like free marketing dollars. It's fantastic.
I mean, how many volunteers do you have at any given time?
Over 10,000. Over 10,000 a year that we activate,
wow,
which is pretty amazing. And in-house, we typically have between 30 and 50 every single day.
Did you ever anticipate this becoming so big, Brooke,
Yes.
when you started this?
Yes.
You had it. You had the vision.
Yes. So my mom asked me that not too long ago. She's like, can you believe this? Can you believe it actually came this far? And I'm like, yes, I saw it in my brain. Because I just knew that if you created something that was so easy and rewarding and wonderful, who would want to say no? Because it's changing lives.
When you look over in the long run, the next 5 years, I mean, you see the organization just continuing to do what it does, or you see it branching out into a different area?
Yeah. Where do I see us in 5 years? Mm-hmm. So 5 years, we are really focusing on our wraparound services, strengthening those programs and strengthening the social services aspect of our organization. We have the food nailed down. We could do it in our sleep if we wanted to. But now it's really expanding and strengthening those programs, because that is where the self-sustainability comes from. And then just continuing to have our anchor community markets in the community, to where if you look at a map of Southern Nevada, you can get to us or we can get to you.
Do you see it expanding into, Northern Nevada?
I would love that. And I would love that. I think that would be fantastic. There are there are a few companies that are invested in Southern Nevada equally as they are. And I feel like when the time is right, we would love to do that because it's...
Do you go out, I know you get things donated by a lot of these companies,
Yep.
but do you go out and actually purchase supplies as well?
We do. We were very dependent ourselves on the free food system for a long time. And now we purchase a very large chunk of the food that we distribute. And so that is our biggest cost now, is purchasing the food. But as you can see, the quality that we're purchasing is like, it's the food that you and I are purchasing. Yeah. And yeah.
So you purchase from wholesalers or?
We do. We purchase from wholesalers, vendors like, Meadows Gold, all of the produce companies. I see their trucks all the time. Get Fresh, and so we're really, really fortunate to be able to. And then, of course, they love what we do, so they'll contact Kate, our procurement person, and they'll say, hey, we have a truckload of this item, and, it didn't get to where it needed to go. Would you guys like it? So not only do we purchase, but they are very, very generous to us as well.
Right, so it's kind of a win-win.
Very.
Well, you've done an extraordinary work here. We've shown some of the video. You see what the culture is here, what the volunteerism is, and how you're really helping people in our community. Got close to 50,000 people that are beneficiaries.
Yeah, last year we served over 243,000 Southern Nevada residents.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like what, 1/10 of the population.
Math is not my strong suit, Ed.
Well, look, it's Just One Project. You can just Google it. Website is justoneproject.org.
Yes, absolutely.
And catch them on social media. And Brooke Neubauer, you did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Great deal of positive work for Las Vegas.
Thank you. And it's such a pleasure being on your show. I have been following you for a million years, and you're just an amazing steward in our community, so it's really an honor to having you here, and the fact that you're a fan of the Just One Project is huge for us, so thank you.
Yeah, get busy, do something.
I was driving on the freeway, truck cut me off, dropped this whole drive shaft, I had a piece fly through my windshield and across my face. I found Ed's office through word of mouth. They just said he's the best of the best.
If you've been injured, call me, Ed Bernstein,